Hi, and welcome to this case study. Today I'm going to be talking with Charity Smith. Charity is a beautiful therapist from the United States who we've been working with for around 12 months now. Charity is going to share her story of what it was like to run a business. She's been running a business for 8 years. She really created a lot of stuff on her own at the start, set everything up really well, and then kind of plateaued. And she's going to share a little bit about what changed for her as a result of having coaching. Now, we also are going to talk a little bit about we're from Australia, she's from the USA. How did that work? What were some of the challenges that came with it? And what were some of the amazing advantages that happened because of that as well? Charity she's such a great storyteller. She's got a beautiful heart. And I'm really excited to share with you the journey that she's gone through in order to get to where she is today. Welcome, Charity.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Look, Charity, I would love to introduce you to our listeners and our audience. So do you maybe want to share a little bit about the type of body work that you love to practice in your clinic?
Yeah, so I am a structural body worker. It's very similar to Rolfing. It's a technique called core. I have been doing massage for about 8 years, but doing this specific technique for about 4. And now we have some awesome scar therapy training that we just started up. So we're really excited about that. Yeah, that's kind of the type of work that I do. But yeah, I love it. It's great.
That's amazing. Thank you. Where were you in your business before you started working with James and myself?
Yeah, so I feel like I had been kind of at like a plateau. Like I had kind of, got up, got going, and then I just kind of sat for a long time with no real need. I just was kind of like, I'm fine, just kind of floating. And then I kind of lit that fire in me of like the business side, and I thought I really want to do something more than what I'm doing. And I had attempted hiring previously, actually, and it was a complete fail. Like complete. It never really got off the ground for so many reasons, but mostly the reasons that I didn't know what I was doing. And we both didn't, I didn't know what I was doing. And so when I actually came and talked with James, I said, I do not want to hire. I can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. I said, it's not the route I want to go. I got to figure something else out. I was like, anything but that. And funny enough, here I am now hiring people because now that I have actually been able to learn how the process works, I've been a lot more successful at it. Go figure, systems and processes, it's good. So that's kind of where I was in the beginning. I was seeing maybe, it wasn't the number of clients, like my books were always full. It was the problem I was having was keeping hiring and filling a therapist books. That was my problem. And that's where you guys really came in. Was I had just hired Jordan, I think maybe right before, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go, honestly. I think I was like nervous about it, but I felt like I had a lot more tools to like even just muddle through it. The first time it was still hard. I mean, I say first, but like first real time was still really difficult, but I feel like I knew where to look for the answers or ask the questions, even if it was still hard, I guess. So that's kind of where I started, or where I was before was plateau, tried to hire, didn't work. And that's kind of where I was. Does that answer your question?
It's a fabulous answer, thank you. And I think it is often that can happen in our businesses where we get excited. Like you said, it got off the ground. I've got
Yeah.
clients coming in. I filled my books. Yay.
Yeah.
I want to hire. I don't know what I'm doing, but I seem to do the, getting up started before.
Right.
Okay, so I'll just do that again. That's not
Right.
working. Now I'm a bit of a loss. In fact, now instead of doing that again or learning it, I'm just going to not do it ever again.
Yeah.
And I love
Definitely.
that sometimes, I love your honesty in that because it's true. Sometimes we're like, I've tried that, it was terrible, and I'm never doing it again. Don't make me.
Right. Because I think I had tried like 2 or 3 times. It wasn't that I just had tried once. It was like, I, so it really says something to like, now Jordan has been hired for a year and a half. So like, it, it speaks to that, right? Like, it really does. There's something to it, like to have these systems in place for sure that I was missing, right? Like, I knew how to get clients for myself, but I didn't understand the process of hiring, I think.
So maybe let's talk to that then. What were
Yeah.
the things that you did differently with this
Yeah.
hire that was
Yeah.
different to what you'd done in the past?
With Jordan or my current hire? With
Well,
Jordan.
we'll get to that. It's going to be exciting.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
tell us a bit about what happened with Jordan.
Yeah. So once I came on and Jordan was already on, and like I said, I was still muddling through it. And I think, like we had talked about previously, it was like I was honest with her. I think it's time I'd say, like, I am not going to be perfect at this, but let's like learn this together. And I was clear about her options, right? Like, you can go work at a Massage Envy or some chain, right? You can start your own. Here's what that looks like. Here's what I can offer you, and let's walk this road together, right? Like, if you're not ready to start a business, but you don't want to be on a chain, here's what I can give you. And so I think honesty, number one, like clear is kind. And I was just really clear with what my expectations and what I could offer her. And so that's where my starting point was. And then we muddled together. And that's okay. It's okay to not be perfect at it and to learn as we grow. So I started there, and then the things that I really did differently, I had to do it so different from the way I had done it because I realized she learned differently, and that was in the portal, right? Like that knowledge in there to say like she might not learn the same as you, and here's how you can do that. Here's how you can figure out how she learns, and here's how to execute it, right? Like it was figuring that piece out because it was like, well, doing the same thing over and over again isn't going to get you different answers because that's what I kept doing. So I think honesty, the way she learned, and then just, I think for me, a big piece was finding her niche too. Like, who are your people? Who are your people? And going that route because I had been trying to feed her my people, which that's not always the case, like we had to find like what population do you want to serve and go at it from that angle. So I think those were like some of the biggest puzzle pieces that kind of shifted into place. Does that answer?
It's absolutely fantastic. And I think, like, often we do make assumptions that, we might be a really good learner when it comes to someone telling us something. So we go out into the workplace and we tell our therapist, our employees and our team what to do. Great. And they don't listen. Some of them listen really well and some of them do not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or we might be really visual in our learning. So we might come to them and say, okay, this is the picture this is what I would like you to do. This is what it should look like. You're like, great, okay, I see it. Some of them will say that, and some of them will be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And being able to elicit and communicate with therapists on their level in the way that they understand means that the learning superhighways are being utilized well rather than the learning back roads. It's a road, but is it really? Like, we can learn, but it's trickier and it's going to be the longest way around. Actually, just finding their superhighways so that the learning that happens, it means that they upskill into your way of doing things much quicker, and it's a lot less frustrating for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Quicker. Yes. Sometimes we take a long way around, and no, I'd rather just A to B.
Get there, just get there. Okay, so that was your first hire that went successful, and yes, it's taken time, and that's okay because, as you said, and I think that authentic leadership of just being honest and going, "It's my first rodeo." This is where we're at. I think that honesty actually allows us to live in our integrity rather than thinking we have to have everything together and go into work with game face on, which is exhausting.
Right.
and they feel that incongruency, to
Yeah.
just be able to sit back and go, actually, I'm just going to be really honest here. Let's learn this together. And we're not
Yeah.
going to stay in that place, but it's okay to start in that place.
It's okay to start there. And
Yeah.
that's where it's felt like as I've progressed and I'm in this different place with these future hires, I've felt I've entered into a different place. It doesn't have to be, hey, I'm muddling through it. It's I'm entering it with confidence now, which is a different place, you know? And it's like, but it's okay that I started there. Like that felt more authentic to me to show up like that than just like, I know what I'm doing when clearly I do not.
So
You
let's
know?
talk about your next hires then. You can hear the S in there, your next hires. Let's
Yeah.
talk about your next gal that you brought on and how that's like, what was the difference for you in your leadership and how quickly has she been able to assimilate into your practice?
Yeah, I was nervous hiring a second. I was like, it has to be perfect. Like Jordan has to have, like my first girl has to have everything buttoned up and figured out. And Alicia, you were like, just do it, just do it. And I was like, I don't know. But it's true because once I like started the process, it almost felt like Jordan figured it out. She was like, oh, like, let's do this. Like, this is a real business. We're going places. We are headed in this direction. And my next hire, Melody, it didn't come quick. Like, I started my the process in October. It's May. What? I don't even know what month it is. April. Here we are. So it's taken time, but I was okay with the time. Like I was like, all right. And sometimes it's like when you stop trying, things happen. And that's what happened for me is like the first of the year hit and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like take a chill. Maybe I'll just look at some new grads. I had really wanted somebody with experience and I was like, let's just shift the view, lower our expectations a bit. And it's like the people who are like trying to get pregnant and they stop trying and then they're like pregnant. That's like exactly how it felt. Was like, and we have someone who's willing. And when she came in, I think also because of that time, I had set up my systems. Like I had done the work. I had went through the portal of, team and watching the videos and setting up the systems to make sure I had an onboarding process. I knew what that looked like. I had the contracts in place. I knew what those pieces would look like, right? I knew what the interview process, the onboarding, like marketing, I knew that process. And so it wasn't as scary, I guess. Like she came on and I was like, oh, and this is the next step. And okay, this is the next step. It felt a lot easier. And then actually, once she was onboarded, it went a lot quicker. Like you said it would. Did I believe you? I don't know, but it did. And I don't know, also like personality, like she's just like a real self-starter. But maybe that was also in the interview process. Like I found a values match, which you guys talk so much about, like aligning your values. She did. Like she so did. And that was huge. Like I think I had underestimated that concept of finding someone who is a values match. I think I had underestimated that, or even I didn't grasp the concept. Like I was like, okay, I hear the words, but I'm interviewing people who are not matches. And so I'm like, I don't get it. And then once I found somebody who was that match, it was like, oh, this is what you're talking about. Okay. So I think that was like the first start of like, this can be different and I can do this.
Yeah.
Did that
Yeah,
answer?
yeah. And I think like it's just amazing to be able to go, okay, I've decided I want to hire someone else. And I'm actively in that process, doing what I can to reach out and I'm not getting anyone. So while I'm there, I'm going to take the action and behave as if they've already come on board. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm going to get the system set up. I'm going to get the expectations, the standards. I'm going to get clear on my values, clear on what I
Yeah.
want. Like I said, then we detach from the outcome and all of a sudden, boom, it drops in. Thank you, universe. Here's my person. Oh, cue angel music.
Yes.
not only have you got an amazing experience of somebody who is now a values match,
Yeah.
but you've also got the experience of what that looks like, sounds like, and feels like for you to have that and to just bring them on board like this. So while your
Yeah.
first hire, it might have taken 18 months to get them up to speed because
Yeah.
you had your L plates on, your second
Yeah.
hire can get up to speed within weeks because
Yeah.
all that infrastructure is built out.
Yeah.
And in the process, do you want to share what else happened in that process as well?
Yeah, it was kind of like, what? But like you said, I had the systems in place. Magic happens when you have systems in place. Somebody else, because I had already put things in different Facebook groups, and I had my web page specifically for hiring still there, and I had all these things still just in place. So somebody actually reached out to me and applied who had 13 years of experience. I was like, what? What? This is crazy. I'm like, I haven't even like started all the way with one, and I'm going, why not do two at once? Because I'm already putting in the work. We're already doing all the different events and getting in the marketing, and let's do another. Let's just do it. Let's just go for it. And it fell into place because like I knew what to look for, like you were saying. I knew what it felt like. I knew what it looked like to be a values match and to have things fit the way that I wanted them to fit.
Mm.
And so this time around, it's just like just right in a line, boom, boom. She was hesitant about the pay, and at first I was like, oh no, but I knew what to say because I had the training behind like, okay, this is the percentage. I know my numbers. I know how to work this out. I know what to look for and what I can pay and what I can't because I shot myself in the foot the first time and was drowning. I'm like, here, take all my money. I feel so bad. Now I'm like, I know what I'm worth. I know what work I do, and I know my numbers. Here's what I can offer you. Take it or leave it in a loving way. And yeah, yeah,
So much certainty in that. And that's so there's like there's a few different stories in here. So firstly the story is getting clear on your leadership and putting the infrastructure in place to help you get there. Awesome. Let's
yeah,
talk about your relationship with money because it hasn't always, you have not had that kind of
yeah,
certainty before,
yeah,
especially because like you said in the past, here's all my money, I feel bad, so please take it.
yeah.
That is like 90% of the massage industry. Sorry if you're listening and you're a bit like, that's a bit harsh. You're welcome.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's
true.
how, it's true, exactly.
It's true.
So often that comes from a need to, well, firstly coming from a place of being a consumer. So we're used to spending money, and so
Yeah,
therefore we want to make sure that we continue to do that, because that's the
yeah,
habit we've been in. It's also the
yeah,
mindset we have. But then there's also the factor of, but I want to be liked as a boss. I want them to like me. I don't want someone to not like me. If I'm really rich or wealthy or I'm paying my bills really well, then people are, and I'm like fidgeting with my fingers and oh, but people will think I'm really evil and terrible. And I'm like Mr. Burns, like I don't want to be Mr. Burns, so therefore just have all my money, right? Um, and I'm I guess I'm extrapolating on some of the stories and conversations we had.
yeah.
What were some of the shifts for you to go, actually, now I know my numbers and I know what I can offer you, take it or leave it in a loving way? Like there's a big jump between those two places. Can you maybe share a little bit of your journey into how you created that kind of certainty for yourself around money?
Yeah, number one, I mean, knowing your numbers and knowing how to know your numbers, right? Sitting down and getting real with what does that look like? Am I perfect at it right now? No, but like you said, I have come a very long way from A to B, right? Like it's come a really long way, and it's a process. This isn't a quick fix or a little pill that's just easy. Like this is work, but it's work with like I know how to take the steps, right? And I got there by hard work. And I think it's just knowledge is power. I think for me that's what it was, to be able to like actually know it and not come from a fear-based place, but like you said, certainty and a place of abundance going. And I kept feeling that way too. I think it was about clients. Like if I had lost a client, I was like, people will be attracted to our values. The people who, if we raise our rates, this was part of this value kind of thing. And I just raised up Jordan's rate to match mine. And we had the same feeling of like, oh, and it was like people who our values match and who value us and our time, they will align. They will be attracted to us. They will find us. And so it took me a while to get there, but I'm so happy I did. And I'm so happy that I put in the work to know my numbers, to get rid of the fear base, and to just enter in this a place of abundance, and that it's possible, and to keep working on it, because it's not finished. It never, I don't think it ever will be, but I think it's keep heading that direction. So yeah, that helps.
And money is a huge thing, because we often, it's like, that's where our blind spots are. I don't want to look at money. I just want to help people. Yeah, like, I'm not looking at this stuff. I don't want to, acknowledge the fact that this stuff comes from a long time ago. I don't want to, and it's like, I'm an adult. I shouldn't have to do this. And actually, part of being an adult is understanding money and our relationship with it.
Yeah.
And we make it sound easy in this lovely story. However, we also know that there is some what we call hairbrush moments where, the conversations we've had around money haven't always been happy and smiling and fun. Sometimes they've been like, but why do I have to have so many bank accounts? This is stupid.
Yes. And like you said, because it comes from our past, we have childhoods that are hard, and our parents, their relationships seep into us of this money place. And so it takes a long time to grow from our parents' relationship to money to our relationship to money. And it's going to look different, but you've given those tools to do that, like very specific steps, resources, that kind of thing, so it's good.
In relation to money, what are some of you've had some of your biggest years and months on record, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those have definitely been my biggest wins, for sure, is when I hit those biggest months. And my biggest year, I hit my goal, right? Like, I hit over my goal this year. I did the 6 figures. I did it, right? I finished it. 116,000, I think. I ended the year, which is great. That's like, I did it. It took work, and it wasn't just like handed, right? It's not a handout. It's directions on how to get there. You have to do the work. And same with the biggest months. I think it's those accumulation of biggest months that create the biggest year, right? And it was very specific tactical tools. Here's how to do the give to get and the this and the that, and make sure you're selling product, and make sure here's how to work smarter and not harder, right? It's all of that combined that add up to the large wins, so I think that's.
And it's the momentum, it's like it starts with a little snowball effect. And so often it's like, I'm just doing all this work, and it feels like I'm just looking at the portal, and I'm setting up my systems, and nothing is happening, and nothing is happening, and nothing is happening. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm now having my biggest months ever, and I've just hit 6 figures, and I've got all these people working for me. And it's like, yeah, okay, the snowball started back here teeny tiny, but the momentum is actually what gains traction. And so all of a sudden, boom, all these wins happen, 11 months after we've been working together, although it's been gradual, the increase of everything. But it's like that's really normal. And I think that even to speak to that yes, I've had these amazing wins. And it wasn't like I woke up one day and the angel music cued and it was all just in my bank account. What happened is I took consistent action over time, which led to an amazing result. And now the next goal is to have 6 figures as income.
And that's right. That's my next goal.
Which we know you'll hit, because you've got to take the next level of growth in order to be able to get there. Also, and obviously having 3 staff members is certainly going to help that, which is exactly what we want. But again, it comes back to what's been done in the past, a lot like a tree. Like sometimes we don't see the leaves growing, we don't see much height, it stays the same because the root structure is getting so much deeper and going out and going out. And I think that's really what you're sharing, and that has been your story over the last 12 months that we've been working together.
That's exactly what it feels like, these like deep roots of just understanding how to do all this, and it makes taking these like bigger steps so much less scary when you have those deep roots and like, I know what I'm doing. Like Felicia doesn't even know this. She's about to hear this. With this new staff member, I want to expand, and next door there is a large space. I want to do it, and I want to do more. Like I want to have a physical therapist in the room, and who knows what else. So I think like growth doesn't scare me anymore because I'm like, okay, I know how to take these actionable steps. Whereas before I was at a plateau for a long time. Probably, like I said, I have had my business for 8 years. I didn't do much, like anything, those first 6 years. So like this is huge, to be able to say like this much growth after so much time of just really plateauing. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It's absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And so, so what we're seeing is that momentum and that those deep roots growing down to be able to grow a taller, stronger tree. What has it been like working with coaches in Australia?
Yes. So interesting and amazing. So many good things and hard things. Just like all of the answers that I've had in the previous, they're the same, right? I think it's really great to have like a different perspective of somewhere that you're not in. It's not your own bubble. I think that's great. Like it really does help to see something through someone else's lens in even a foreign country, right? Like it's like, okay, there's more out there than my tiny little bubble. It gives you such this like expansion. And I don't know, it's been great. Like challenges, yes, on time, like 6 p.m. here, probably morning the next day there, right? Like it's different. It's different, but I think if you know that going in, like, okay, this is the time frame that I'm looking at, I'm going to build it in. I'm going to build it in. I will say, I think it's probably helpful if you're a night owl or you work good at night. This is not during business hours. Like you can go and work and you have your stuff at night. So I think that part is probably helpful. It's not like a 3 p.m. and you're like, man, I'm missing clients for this or something. So I think that's an added benefit. But I think those are the pros and the struggles. Does that help answer a bit?
Definitely. Have you had trouble interpreting anything that we've said?
Hot cross buns. Just kidding.
Because
I
you guys
learned
are
what that
half
is.
new. I'm
No.
literally Googling them this morning, like
Yeah. Yeah.
what we're going to do with our hot cross
Easter.
buns over Easter. It's the best
It
ever.
made
It's
me
so good.
it made me think of it. Now every Easter I'm just like, I need hot cross buns. Never heard of them before, so must be an Australian thing. I don't know unless I'm living under a rock here.
It's fabulous. And no, we don't eat Vegemite on hot cross buns because that is weird.
I love it. No, it's been fine. I think the accents are amazing, so it's great. No problems.
Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about some of your biggest wins in the program. And we've already heard some of them, but what would you say your biggest win is around money?
My biggest win around money is how I've shifted my relationship to money. I'm not scared of it anymore. I am not afraid to have it, to keep it, and to grow with it. I think there's the dollar amounts, which have been good, great, excellent, but there's the emotional piece tied to it that is no one can take that piece from you. Even though there's work to go, I feel like it's the mindset piece around it, the relationship. So, yeah.
Love that. So good. What would you say is your biggest win around marketing?
Marketing. My biggest win, learning how to navigate Facebook groups. Because that's where this new hire came from. I was shocked. I was like, I really thought there was nobody on the other side of that ever listening. But they are, and they do, and it shocks me. I think I just realized I thought no one even uses Facebook anymore. They do. It's there. there are people on the other side. Just learning how to navigate using the tools, like just the very specific systems that there are in place to learn about marketing. Oh my gosh, that's been huge. Google ads, any kind of just trying. I think that's the biggest thing, is like, just do something, start 80-20, like do it. And I think for so long I was just like, it's not perfect, I don't know. Just start, just try. And yeah, lots of good wins around marketing.
Yeah, that's awesome. What would you say is your biggest win around your mechanics?
That's all the systems, right? So obviously my onboarding system. um, I think, yeah, mechanics, it's like, well, first, obviously before that system was the champagne money system, which took me, again, a long time to get around. So I'm sure some of these people are just gonna like, you're gonna get in, you're just gonna nail it. It took me a minute, okay, people? Like, it took me a solid minute, okay? That's okay if it takes you a minute. They're not going anywhere, just hang out. Yeah, champagne money system, read the book, opened all the accounts, and I still waited. Like, that took me a long time. Finally took action, finally saw results. And yeah, systems matter. Systems matter. So there you go.
That's so good. And it's true. Like,
Yeah.
often we think we have to do, like, I'm in this program, I have to do all these things, and I have to do it right now. And it's like, you know what? That's why we do a year. Yeah, people
Yeah.
often say, why is it so long? Do you do it less?
You
It's
need
like,
it.
no, actually,
No.
we don't, because we're literally helping you build new neural pathways,
Yeah.
forge new neural pathways in your brain, so
Yeah.
that, just like you said, you can unlearn this. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't unlearn the mechanics. You can't unlearn the champagne money system, because
Yeah.
you literally were like, you were wrestling with
Yeah.
what we call a barrier condition, which is, I don't have any neural pathways for this. I have
Yeah.
never done this before. It's completely outside my comfort zone and 100% foreign, and I'm not even sure I want to do it. And it's like a kid in being told they can't have chocolate, but I want it.
Tantrum. Full tantrum.
Yeah,
Full.
awesome. Yeah, like, it's totally okay to have a tantrum. It's totally
Yeah.
okay to resist and resist and resist. And what I love about working with you, Charity, is that you know that you're resisting, and you know you're resisting, and
Yeah.
then you disappear for a little while, and then you come back with 8,000 questions, and then you take the action. And it's like, great.
Okay.
There's zero
Isn't that?
judgment in that. It's just,
Yeah.
that's just your strategy for learning.
Yeah.
And
It really is.
I resonate with that, because I wish I just learned in a logical order of, you do this and
No,
this and this. I
I
don't.
don't.
I
I
see how
don't.
important it is. I chuck a massive tantrum. I spit
Yep.
at everyone. I get
Yep.
really annoyed that I have to change. And then,
Yeah.
of course, I just eventually,
Shame.
okay, do it.
Do it. If
I wish I
if
could
only we could just do it,
avoid this
but
bit.
we
We can't.
can. Yeah, that's
Love it.
exactly it. And
And it's
I'm with
fun,
you.
yeah.
I'm totally with you. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And yes, questioner here. I need all the questions. But like we said, that's just how we learn. We have to figure out that's the way we learn,
Yeah.
and you just roll with it
And
and
the beautiful thing,
embrace it.
yeah, exactly. And the beautiful thing about question is that you guys ask the questions that all of us haven't even thought of yet. And it's
Yeah.
great. It's like, yeah, I wanted to know that too. What she said, that's really good. Like, which is great.
Like,
And
okay.
great to be able to walk in that certainty. And that's
Yeah.
that's who you are.
I love
What
it.
would you say is your single most amazing success since joining the program?
So my single biggest outcome from since joining is learning how to get past my 6 figures, all the roadblocks that went into it, all the learnings that went into it. It, like, Alicia's saying, it's there. This is just the outcome. It's just a number. It's still just dollars. There doesn't have to be emotional meaning to it, but it's what I've learned to get there. And like the person that I've become through that process, like not coming from a fear-based place towards money, or being confident in my leadership, or, all these things that come with it, but accumulating that outcome all the things that come with it. So yes, that's my biggest success since joining the program.
Thank you so much for sharing, Charity. It is a delight to hear your incredible wins and also to have been, part of and witnessed your incredible journey and to know that this is just, once again, just the next place that you're going to springboard from to go to the next
Yeah.
level, which is going to be
Yeah.
huge and exciting. And I can't wait to do this again in another year's time where you're going to
That's
say,
right.
and, I had to go through these things to get to here.
Yes.
And this is what I've done. Because what I know about you is that you're so committed to that outcome. If you set a
Yeah.
goal and then you will do the work in you and
Yeah.
around you to create that to happen.
Yeah.
And that's what's really exciting to watch is really you've been able to find how do I do it and then just
Mm.
set your mind to it and then take the action and move towards it and have as many tantrums as you like on the way. Be totally okay with that. And get to
Yeah.
where you want to go, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's what we like. This is what we love to see is that people don't just know how to market their business or do a Facebook ad. It's like you now have skills in place that says it does not matter what the universe throws at me. I
Yeah.
know how to manage that.
Yeah.
I can be flexible. If this doesn't work, I can go here. If that doesn't work, I've got this. If that doesn't work, I can do here. When that works really well, I'm stoked and I know what else I've got. You have so many choices and options available to you that whether it is in your mechanics, whether it's in your systems, whether it's in hiring staff, creating profit, leading you as a person and as a business owner and as a as a mum, like you've got all of these amazing skills that you now get to share with those around you.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Thank you. Thank you for letting me be